Well. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day for everyone out there in cryptocurrency land. As always, waking up for a very early morning myself in this beautiful but very cold and very white snow outside Helsinki, Finland, and wishing you well over here. As always, want to be wishing you the best of the best, the happiest of the happiest, whatever good superlative you want in your life. Well, I hope that for you right here, right now. Now, Bitcoin actually having a final break of the range. But before we get into it, I do want to make an announcement that later on during the live stream later today, which I definitely will be having one, if I can fix my hair, my disgusting hair, another bad hair day for me. There will be we will be having a guest on, Mr. Crypto West, a good friend, and last time he was on, we actually saw the break of 6,000, so perhaps we might get some price action as well. In fact, we're already getting a little bit of early price action, so that is very exciting. And also, it's just a very special day indeed. Jewman from the Discord recording a video on how to make the Crown TA drink. Absolutely amazing. A former personal mixologist for Mr. Bruce Willis himself, and just incredible. So fucking cool, man, this community that we got. And I'm getting a live scene right over here. And let's talk about Bitcoin now. So Bitcoin. Also, I should make an announcement. The ticker that you see at the bottom over here that I'm pointing to you right now, before we get into it, I do want to make an announcement. If you are a programmer, if you know how to basically pull this sort of information out and create a new one, I would actually be happy to talk to you as I am looking to update that. So if you do have some ideas on how to do that, please reach out to me. I'd have some gifts for you. I would be happy to give you a significant discount on any of my programs, and I'm sure that we could just talk about that. Anyways, getting to the actual analysis. Sorry about that, guys. Just showing my own self. And Bitcoin, once again, getting rejected at that red 10 simple moving average. So this is exactly what I was talking about yesterday, and essentially waiting for the move, so to speak, which was governed off of the CMEs over here. So remember, we were looking at CMEs, and I was looking to take a position on the gap fill of this guy right over here. We didn't quite get it on this one. I mean, you could have made the argument for it. However, this was a little bit more obvious. So alarms ringing in the early morning hours, and I was able to get in at 34.40 on spot on my main account and my streamer account right over here. Just for full disclosure, by the time that I logged in, price action was already back down, and I entered at around 34.13ish area. Now you will notice on the lower time frames, while we are here, I think that it's actually a little bit more worthwhile to spend some time on the lower time frames. We actually did break the lower support of this rising trend line right over here, and while I did have this kind of as a rising channel bear flag yesterday, I do, you could make the argument that it was not an actual bear flag. So the measure move pointing us down to about 32.50 is not necessarily the way to be looking at this. However, the symmetrical triangle that we played out, Jesus, it was like a month ago right over here. That is still very much in play, but pointing us all the way down to about 3200, 3250-ish area. Is that the next one on the table? Well, I could say that, but also we do have a very obvious horizontal right over here at around 3359-ish area, which basically lines up with this area right over here. So to me, it's a little bit left of center, right? Yeah, we do have a breakdown. Yeah, we do have volume being indicative of an actual breakdown right over here of the lower time frames. Look at the nice spike up in volume. That's what I've been waiting for. Again, after that nice curling down, curtailing volume on this area, we spike it back up as the breakage happens. So this is likely to be a real break to me, but needs to break this area right over here to make it fully official. Now I will be presenting lots of other things that kind of align with the fact that I believe this is extremely likely to happen. However, for Bitcoin himself, to be quite serious and to be quite frank, it has not. We have not actually broken this area down around here. However, if Bitcoin is going to maintain this more aggressive bearish posturing, well, I want to see Bitcoin not close a 2-hour dildo back above 33.80 right over here. I want to see this area hold it. If Bitcoin does close a 2-hour dildo back above that area, I will reconsider, as this support ledge that we're currently resting on right now, that is of great importance, because the second that breaks, well, then this whole accumulation area down around here, that comes into jeopardy from a more traditional standpoint. So it would kind of insinuate that this whole area was distribution, which I believe it was, but it would also insinuate that we're getting ready for like a major drop, like now, which to me, I always want to take the more conservative route. Doesn't mean necessarily that is the right way to be taking it. But as a trader, I always want to be more conservative, just because, that's if you think that every move is a breakout or breakdown, well, you're going to be caught with red dildos and green dildos up your bunghole. So far up your bunghole that you'll lose your account before you can actually catch the real move. But anyways, this symmetrical triangle right over here is still very much in play and still very much, governing price action, as the measurement move on this guy is, well, look it down around here. Basically the same thing as where I'd have this bear flag over here going. So again, ever since we broke this symmetrical triangle to the downside, this measure move is in play as long as we are below the breakdown point, which is right over here, 38.30, 38.40-ish area. And we've just been creating a succession of lower highs along the way, lower high, lower high, lower high. And are we going to do the same thing right over here? Well, I would probably argue it's very likely. Now, I do want to, again, I'm spending a lot of time over here on the lower time frames to begin this, probably because, well, the higher time frames, they haven't really changed. They all look like shit. They're all bearish. They're all disgusting as far as like long-term, higher time frames, daily and above go. But we'll get to them later. Don't get me wrong. But I do want to cover the low time frames because we do have a little bit of a breakage in pattern. But you will see that we are currently resting on the 786 Fibonacci retracement down around here, which is important because I do believe that the bots and algos are running this market, as they run just about every market. But in cryptocurrency, it's a little bit more pronounced right now because likely all the retailers are gone. I don't really think there's too many new people coming into this space right now. Especially after reading all the headlines over the last year or so. Anyways, we do have great insight into what the bots and algos are doing, more importantly, which is what we can actually make big decisions based off of, or at least I can. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Go fuck yourself, SEC, if you're listening right now. Or, just kidding, don't put me in jail. But just giving my opinions and showing my experience on exactly what I do in these exact sort of same situations that you might find yourself in. But basically, Bitcoin popping all the way down over here after a nice 50% down. You probably remember that on the breakage of 6,000, putting in a low over here, and then our first big bounce, pretty damn good, but certainly not anything indicative of an actual low being put in. Just a nice bounce, a dead cat bounce, is what it looks like to me. But we have plenty to speak on with this guy. And let me just shove in a couple more horizontals so we can directly talk about that. Okay, yeah, that's all we need actually. And with looking at the fibs, we can get a great insight into what the bots and algos are doing. You see this first high being put in right over here. Price pops back down to the 618, gets picked up, actually front ran a little bit. Where's the algo target going to be? A little bit above the 236, probably the 132. If I put it in, it would be right over here. And you see that nice spike over there. Then pops back down to the 618. And where's the next target going to be? Well, the 382 right over here. Nice little spike once again. Then pops back down to the 618. Well, where's the target going to be? You probably already know the pattern, the 0.5. It's just being walked down. It's the bear market walk down. This is distribution is what I'm really getting at. This is what the signature of distribution. A little bit, I mean, it's, would you say that this is aggressive or not? I mean, I would say that it's quite obvious. I don't know if it's also quite aggressive. I would have liked to have, I mean, if it was not going to be as aggressive, you would have seen another bounce up into this 3,800 range. We never got that. But that's why, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. And that is why I'm happy to be bearish during something that looks like this. But yeah, once we pop back down to the 618 once again, then it broke. It broke and we head back down to the 786. Now, I want to be very adamant in saying that as long as we are below this 3470-ish area, I do want to see the 786 break before getting back above this area right over here to maintain this more aggressive bearish posturing. The next target that we'd be looking at is down around here, right around the 886 and in 942. Which is where you see these lower support trend lines and also the measure moves off this symmetrical triangle and also of this bear flag right over here. I mean, we basically just put in rising channels all the way down. There's one right here, one right here. You could even draw in one right here if you really wanted to, something like that, and the measure move would just basically be the same, right? But just being walked down, and again, as long as Bitcoin's below the 618, this is heavily bearish, heavily bearish, with immediate pressure to the downside, I should say. So if Bitcoin does get back down around to this 3,250, 3,300 level right over here, would I be closing shorts? Well, again, as a more conservative trader, yes, I will be closing this perp over here, whichever one happens first, whether we close a 2-hour dildo back above 3380 or if we head down to this area by breaking this 3369 support that we're currently resting on, the 786, then I'll close it down here. But whichever one happens first, that's when I'll close that scalp position. I will probably leave open my futures position from 6300. That's more of a directional trade. at some point in time, I strongly believe that this area will break, and we will be on to the next one essentially. But overall, Bitcoin just forming what appears to be a massive descending triangle. So the reason why I would want to be closing that perps position is because if Bitcoin does get back down around here, well, I do want to be defensive against any sort of a bounce back up into this range, maybe even tag the upper resistance trend line of this ascending triangle. So again, I'd want to be more conservative than not on that move. And obviously, if Bitcoin were to break this area down around here, well, can just enter into another position, and that would be the more conservative way of doing it, while still leaving open my directional position. So again, whichever one happens first, whether we close a 2-hour dildo above 33.80 or get down all the way to here, that'll be the impetus for closing that position to explain it a little bit thoroughly. So yeah, this is a breakage of pattern. Look at the volume, and this is a great example of volume confirmation on a pattern like this. But you will notice that in the overall context of this, taking everything off, you do still have that nice orderly drop off in volume. Now, don't you, going from left to right, which tells me that this is still just overall consolidation of this whole pattern, which is also why I don't necessarily want to be keeping big directional deltas open on this here trade, even if it gets all the way down to the prior lows. So, looking at this, yes, the pattern is getting extremely mature. Yes, it is. It's getting just, one step closer. You see that nice orderly drop off in volume. And the big move, and that suggests that this consolidation will be reaching its apex pretty damn soon, meaning that a break one way or the other will likely happen, whether it's to the downside or the upside. I'm going to likely go with the downside again. When you're in an overall bear market, the trend has been going strong for over a year now, so I'm going to go with that one until it doesn't work. So yeah, right now we do have the 4-hour Stokes actually having a fresh cross down. In fact, I believe all mid and low time frames are crossing down right now. Hourly Stokes still headed down. 2-hour fresh cross down, essentially fresh cross down. 3-hour getting rejected from the bullish control zone. 4-hour rejected from the bullish control zone, likely to confirm down if ends here are lower in the next 38 minutes. 6-hour confirmed down, gave you a little snake over here again in the bearish control zone. What about the 10-hour? 10-hour down again, not able to get out of stopped right at the edge of the bearish control zone. It comes down around here, it gives you a fake out to the upside and it says, nope, we want to control you, want to pull back in, breaking a support along with that, and then likely to confirm as well. And I believe that's in the next 2 hours and 31 minutes. And then 12-hour was really the big deal yesterday. Now, I obviously did not live stream yesterday, but this would have been the only thing that I would have talked about, and essentially the 12-hour Stokes being rejected from getting out of the bearish control zone. Now, keep in mind, I am using special settings on these Stokes over here, but rejected from getting out of the bearish control zone and then headed down. To me, yeah, that is, that was a signal in and of itself. And then daily right over here, daily Stokes are hinting at a cross down as well. Now, this obviously is going to take until the end of the day at 7 p.m. Eastern time before it's, actually confirmed. But the way that it is, the kind of stature of it right now is certainly, does want to go lower. Now, you don't necessarily see new lows from a daily perspective or, on a weekly continuation just yet. However, the way that this is going down right over here, you do see patterns of, this is what distribution looks like over, over the course of, I don't know, I guess it's 2 months now. But basically the smart money accumulated right over here is what went down. Painted an inverted head and shoulders, which got everyone really excited. And then just distribute, which is exactly what it sounds like. Shoving red dildos down bullish bungholes, which is that's what typically happens during a bear market. You see the red 10 simple moving average and the yellow 20-minute exponential moving average gaining more divergence away from each other. Again, just one more tick, which tells us that the trend is gaining strength to the downside. Which we've been talking about for quite some time. Daily RSI, again, just another test of the exponential over here, and failure heavily in the bearish control zone, right in the middle of it, and likely to stay down there for a little bit longer. What do we have on the 2-day right over here? 2-day we should have, 2-day we did have another tick on this guy, and again, just headed further south, giving you another one of those snakes. And every time that we see one of those snakes right over here, basically a false read, and it goes the other way, well, that's typically a pretty damn strong signal that we're going to continue in and of that direction. Same thing with the 10 simple, the red 10 simple and the yellow 20 minute exponential, still gaining divergence away from each other. We have hidden bearish divergence between this point and this point, making lower highs in price action, higher highs in the oscillator in the overall context of a downtrend. Giving it a little bit of a test yesterday, reject, and typically speaking, you'll find yourself at the edge of the bearish control zone after that. But again, these take time because it's a 2-day dildo chart, so it takes literally 2 days to just put in one tick on this, guys. So you've been watching this over the course of the last couple of months. Understand that these things take time, and on the 2-day dildo chart, you can also see the volume is just very, very slowly but surely tapering off. We did not necessarily get the full-on breakdown that as far as volume confirmation goes just yet. And as far as the 2-day is concerned, you do have 2-day support right over here. As you can see, you can just eyeball this at 3,400-ish area. And we have not confirmed below it yet. If we do confirm below it, then that would actually, to me, suggest that we are going to be heading on to new lows. Sorry about that. But seeing as we just started this 2-day, a lot can happen in the next almost 48 hours. Same thing with the 3-day as well. 3-day, 21 and 10 simple moving average gaining more and more divergence away from each other. We had these two crossing, not a huge, it's just telling you those trends strengthening to the downside. Pretty ugly chart overall. This looks like consolidation right over here and breakage of it, but still not confirmed on Bitcoin, but other coins we will look at, and it will be different to kind of give away a little bit. 3-day Stokes over here, still gaining momentum to the downside on this new tick, and again, reject from getting out of the neutral control zone. And each and every time that this crosses down or up with my settings, it is a pretty big inflection point on the market, especially on the down ones. This was this was basically the high of that last rally. This was the break of 6,000. This was like a nice $500 down in during the consolidation of 6,000. This was the drop of 8,000 to 6,000 right over here. This was a drop of 10,000 to 6,000 right over here, the beginning of it, I should say. So again, does have some pretty heavy confluences with that. And I believe that we are so we just the jewel over here, which is my favorite indicator, my favorite like standalone indicator, which I should probably do a video on like how it actually operates, although it doesn't really matter. This is not a public indicator. I know most of my stuff is public, almost all my content's free, thousands of hours of whatever the fuck, plus all of the materials and plenty of indicators as well. But this one's not, because it's the fucking jewel, man. And we actually did destroy the pink right over there. So that is the first warning signal on this guy being fired off. Now, I don't like taking signals like that, but it is helping me confirm the overall trend and let me know that, hey, well, probably want to hold on to this for a second. If we want to go over the 4-day, 4-day had the 4-day dildo death cross be confirmed on the last tick on, that was February 2nd. We saw that, and more importantly, or just as important, the 4-day Stokes over here rejected from getting anywhere close to getting out of the bearish control zone, and you actually even see an obvious resistance trend line going right around here at the edge of that zone and crossing down. And same thing on this guy to a little bit of a less precise extent than the 3-day Stokes, but the 4-day doing its job as well. And again, just looks like it wants to continue down. 4-day RSI, trending below the exponential right over here, having a nice, getting very comfortable down around there. And weekly, we still don't really have continuation, but weekly Stokes having a fresh cross down again. When you're in this critical zone over here, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you have to go up after that." No, you can't stay down there for too long. Can't go lower, bro. That kind of shit. But I would argue that no, that's actually telling you that the trend is extremely strong. The red 10 simple moving average on the weekly providing the impetus for this resistance, not even able to test it on the last couple dildos. After this bearish engulfing dildo right over here, test, consolidation, continuation, and we came short about $20 of having continuation on this weekly. That doesn't mean it can't, it still can't happen. It certainly can, just not necessarily fully confirmed. But we're going to look at some alts which suggests the opposite. But for Bitcoin right here, right now, I do want to look at a few other things. Let's bring up the historical volatility rank. I want to see where that guy's ticking right now. Is he going to be signaling any sort of continuations? Not continuations. The historical volatility rank is going to tell us about, is this, are we looking at an inflection point on the market? And as you can see, we are actually ticking we did actually tick about a zero read right over here, which does suggest that a big move is likely incoming. And anytime that you see this oscillator get between, below the 0.1 level, on this, it does actually match up with some pretty big moves. So last time that we were down around this range was before the break of 6,000. The time before that we were down around this range was right over here. This was your June dump. The time before that was, well, your May dump or your February dump right over here. Your May dump somewhere along the way right over here. Yeah. So again, anytime that it gets down into these regions, it's not telling you the direction of which way price action is going to go, but it is telling you that price action is likely to move extremely heftily pretty damn soon. So looking at this guy, yeah, we are knocking on the door of a major move. And after breaking this pattern to the downside, I would, again, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. So I would be looking for this to have more and more in continuation as we do take that guy up. And again, suggesting that the move is coming relatively soon alongside the volume read on this as well. Remember the tailing off volume telling us that this consolidation, which is very corrective in nature with these lower highs and the volumes that are extremely corrective as well, likely to have more continuation in the same direction. That's my point. I want to see what the 6 hour is saying on this one as well. Yeah, getting down in this region once again. You can see that anytime it gets into this region, big moves you typically get. This was a nice move right over here, 7,000 to 74 to 6,000. This was a nice move over here, 8,000 to 6,000. Yeah. So again, something to be aware of as we do get closer and closer to this to the apex of this guy. Either which way, price action is the one true king in my opinion, and price action I still do want to see it break this 3250 area on at least a daily before getting a little bit more gung-ho bearish, looking for new lows, which I do strongly believe is going to happen, but the timing of that is highly variable, which I think can frustrate a lot of people. The question is, do we bounce off this area right over here, take another stab at the upper resistance trend line of this guy? Again, I do not believe that Bitcoin's going anywhere near 4,000. Sorry, not anywhere near 4,000, but above 4,000. The reason why I do believe that, I believe Bitcoin will head on to new lows before it gets back above 4,000. The reason why I say that is going off the monthly right over here, which we just had a new tick on. Remember, February just started, baby. So get ready for Valentine's Day. But over here, we do have our first breakage of the Green 55 exponential for the first time in Bitcoin's history. Again, a little bit more of a testament to the fact that Bitcoin's relatively young, as you need 55 months to even put one tick on this guy. But we have broken it, and as far as I'm concerned over here, this Green 55 is now to become a very strong resistance, which is all the way at 3665, a far cry away from above that 4,000. What I feel a little bit more comfortable saying is that, after we broke the yellow 20-minute exponential on the monthly dildo time frame right over here with a very girthy, a very disgusting, a very veiny, and a very protruding and erect dildo, it's just been follow through. Actually, we put in another lower. Just a lower dildo. It's just consolidation, I suppose, with a lower high on this one right over here compared to this one. So I'd imagine that this one right over here probably going to be, even if you do get a wick above the Green 55, which again I'm not looking for that right now. I don't believe that that's likely to happen. I think it's likely to probably head further south beforehand. But if Bitcoin did get back to that Green 55 right around 3650, I'd be looking for a position, or anywhere, but or if it ticked above, 3,700, 3,750. I believe that's where the upper resistance of the descending triangle is coming in around. I'd be very happy to take a position, especially when the red 10 simple and the yellow 20-minute exponential are about a month or two away from crossing, barring any sort of run back into mid 5,000s. By the way, both of them now below the critical 6,000 level. So to me, that's telling me that we are going to be living below 6,000 for quite some time. I don't want to give like a legitimate time frame on that, but if I'm giving my opinion, not technical analysis, but my opinion, I'd say it's probably not happening this year. So overall, keep that in mind. It would also suggest that the next target would be down around here, down around the 2,400 level, which does match up with a few other things. Let's actually go through it right now. So remember, we are making a descending triangle is what it looks like to me. Best seen on a lower time frame like this, like a 4 hour. And if it is a descending triangle, which I do believe it is, has the right volume, has the right shape, has the right size, has the right smell, has the right taste, well, then we can make a measure move off this baby. And let's go see where that would point its little dildo face down towards. And we can see right over here, where is it pointing down around? Oh, right around there, 23 to 2,400, which is very interesting to me. So we can actually round this discussion out a little bit more. So not only do we have a measure move, but not only do we have the monthly exponential 89 coming in right around there. But we also have the weekly on Bitstamp suggesting that this blue box territory, which I'm going to refer to it as between 2300 and 2600, the 886 Fibonacci retracement is down around there. Bitcoin did bottom out on the 886 in 2014 right over here. We also do have some nice historical horizontal trend lines coming around from this area that's best seen on a daily. And if we put on the volume profile, you can see that we have some nice thick high volume nodes right over here. Bigger than what you did at 6,000 and obviously at 4,000 as well. But also notice that we are kind of resting on our last high value node right over here at the 3,200, 3,300 range, which after that, it's a very, very quick and likely fast drop into the mid 2,000s, just like what you had over here at 6,000. Once you lost that higher value node at around 6,100, 6,200, it was a very quick and swift move down to the the low 4,000s, high 3,000s right over here. So again, if this is to break again, which and I need to see price action below 3250 on a daily, then it's likely to be another swift move. I don't believe, if Bitcoin takes out 3250, I don't believe you're going to see it. I mean, if you do see a bounce of the prior low right over here, it's just going to be just a very small bounce most likely, with the overall knife cutting through the butter, as they say. So I don't really care all that much about volume profile, but you actually did see some interesting things on the volume profile over here. It did kind of get your tops on the higher value nodes, but you do see this 3,500 level as an area of interest. And I do want to spend a second here taking off the volume profile for a second. And that also matches up with the 618 Fibonacci retracement and also this horizontal trend line right over here. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, yes, I am more aggressively looking for a downside. As long as Bitcoin's below there. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't get back above. It certainly can. It's just if it does get back above, that changes my short-term outlook. And at that point in time, I would be looking for a run probably back to test the top of this ascending trend line right over here, which, if you remember, is lining up pretty damn well with where the monthly 55 is. So there's really good confluence between these things. If Bitcoin does do that, then that's essentially what I'd be thinking. But until that happens, I'm gonna go with the trend. I'm gonna go with the trend, and that's really all that has to be. No more scientific than that. Let's go check out longs and shorts. We have about 31,000 open longs versus a little under 24,000 open shorts, with 3,000 of those hedged. So we really have less than 21,000 open shorts versus about 31,000 open longs. Again, that is significant. That is a severe imbalance, and we are actually losing shorts on these downs. So shorts are taking profit, longs are either getting a little bit wrecked, but most people holding on to their positions, and they're paying they're obviously paying a much higher rate than the shorts, but this is not necessarily a super high rate, to be clear. A super high rate would be like 0.05, 0.07 and above. That's when you're paying thousands and thousands, like not like, like $5,000 or plus to hold a $1 million position per day. And especially when you're holding it against your overall, the overall trend, well, good fucking luck. Anyways, longs right over here, represented in a chart format. This horizontal does represent the area on which I believe it's like too many people on the bus syndrome when longs get above this area or to this area, it matches up with major dumps right over here. Doesn't tell you when it's going to happen, but if you do get above and then go back below, that's typically when the dump happens. So we did kind of reach for that area on that last rise during the end of January. But more importantly, on the shorts right over here, we actually are losing a shit ton of shorts, funnily enough, ever since end of January as well. But overall, anytime shorts get down to like these critical levels, it allows for plenty of dry ammo for the bears to go and dry if they want to. If they want to shove some girthy dildos down those bullish bungholes, they can definitely do it, is my point. And each and every one of these times that it reaches one of these critical apexes, it actually does match up with major dumps. Now, of course, over here when Bitcoin was, around 20,000, you didn't need to put on as many short coins to have the same sort of exposure, but the same logic applies. This was your dump of late January, February dump right over here. This was your dump in March from 10,000 to 6,000. This was your dump in early August from, I believe it was 8,000 to 6,000. This was your dump of 6,000 down to 3,000. Probably remember that one. And we got down around this level once again. Not quite, there, but it does offer up the potential for, one of those crazy price actions. So yeah, let's go check out GBDC now. GBDC, very interesting to me as well. We are seeing continuation on GBDC. In fact, now we're going to start to get into, why is my opinion suggesting that we see why is my opinion, bearish, looking for new lows, or sorry, not necessarily new lows, but looking for this to have more continuation, at least for the prior lows. Well, you see GBTC over here finally having continuation. We have a full-on rejection on the daily dollar time frame of that red 10 simple moving average. These two are getting divergence away from each other. Again, think of it as like a MACD histogram telling you that the trend is strengthening to the downside as these diverge. And if you even put this on a weekly, we should have continuation. Yes, we do not have new lows from this guy right over here, but as far after this selling dildo right over here, this rejection of the 10 simple, it's just been more and more continuation. So a little bit more pronounced on GBTC and also the CME charts, which I put more weight on because I think that they just get price action better, or at least they have been leading price action for the past year. They just get it more or less right. So again, as far as this pattern goes over here, I do believe that this was in the formation of a bear flag, a rising channel bear flag, which broke out to the downside last week, and then you had this slow this little lull right at the support, kind of this broken support, and just slowly but surely toppling over. Now again, volume characteristics on this not fully confirmation of a real breakdown, but the measure move off a bear flag like this would be pointing all the way down into the mid to low 2000s, which you'll probably remember is lines up pretty damn well with what we just looked at from the higher time frame perspective on that Bitstamp chart. So overall, looking at this, yeah, technically you do still have this support down around here, 384, yeah, 384 officially speaking on the daily. And we will probably give it a test today, I'd imagine. And if the daily closes below this area, then I'd be looking for this to actually be hit. Overall, you see how GBTC just bolted its way on the way up. Well, the way you go up is the way you come down, as my mentor used to say. And because you just shot up like an erected green dildo to begin with, you're likely to fall down like a deadly red dildo on the way down. Volume profile should probably say about the same thing. The volume profile on this one just looks ugly, but yeah, as we kind of have lost this last high value node. As far as the volume profile is concerned on this one, yeah, you do have a little bit being done right over here, but really there ain't too much doing until this one area right over here. So again, I am not with the super bears just yet, because as a trader, not an analyst, but as a trader, I can never look at something like this, like we just looked at on Bitstamp, and say, okay, here's what's going on. We're definitely going to go down to the 1,000 area right over here. Yeah, it's certainly fucking possible, man. It is 100% goddamn possible. But this is a difference between an analyst and a trader, and this is what I hope to show, and this is how I hope to separate myself from most people, doing analyses on crypto YouTube and crypto Twitter and all these great places, by one, showing my positions on a streamer account, and by two, looking at something like this and saying, okay, as a trader, I have to treat each and every one of these areas as a potential reversal point, high and strong likelihood for a bounce. But as a reversal point, I need to see the response, because again, what puts in a major market low when everyone's looking for capitulation now, everyone's looking for the major market low, everyone's looking for the turning point. I get that. It's sexy, it's cool, it's awesome. But to tell people in advance, or to act like you have an idea in advance of where it's going to be, shows a grave misunderstanding, a very naive misunderstanding of what goes into a major market cycle low, which is essentially, a big entity, someone with extremely deep pockets, billion dollars plus, whatever it might be, essentially stepping in the market and buying up all the blood. In their sort of perspective, understand their perspective is to accumulate as much as possible for as low as possible, because they know that as soon as they step into the market, they are going to leave a massive wake, which is incredibly fucking obvious, similar to what you saw right over here in 2014, where volume just spikes up, similar to what you did in your parabolic cycle right over here, which we would be looking at right over here, which, by the way, really negates this as being, capitulation. Not that it ever was, because this is in accordance with this red dildo right over here. But once people see that, then the retailers jump back in, and then the other big firms will probably jump back in as well, and well, then the game begins once again. So that's the whole thing with it. So my point is that I need to see the response of price action, just like we saw right over here when Bitcoin came down to the low 3,000s level for the first time. I had to treat it as a potential real reversal until until I saw the reaction of price action, which was very lackluster, which was extremely, not impressive, and had no markings of an actual low. Now I won't go into the specifics of this for this video because it's going to be too long, but definitely check out the playlist titled Long-Term Analysis. It'll be in there in depth. But to kind of wrap it up in just a few sentences, it is, I didn't see the volume that I want to see. The time spent at the lows is not what I want to see. The reaction off the lows, the percentage bounce off the lows, not the way that Bitcoin typically plays these out, and the MBT signal not signaling a low, and also historical volatility rank nowhere near a major inflection point as well, which all those things are incredibly important. Bitcoin was 0 for 5, literally 0 for 5. This was never going to be it. I mean, it's just lower highs lower highs all the way around. It's very corrective in nature, likely to lead on to more of the same is my point. Now, so yes, I will treat this point, the same thing. I have to see the reaction after that. If that fails, then yes, then I go down to the next one at 1869 because that's a great number. And then if that one fails, then sure, I join the perma bears, not the perma bears, but like the super bears down around the low 1000s, maybe even below 1000 as well. But again, it's gonna be a response. That's why when people talk about what are you gonna do during capitulation, nothing. I'm not gonna fucking know until it's over, and then I don't even care anyways because I'm a trader, man. I'm not really an investor, but I will invest once I see an uptrend, which is going to come well after capitulation. By the way, it's going to probably take a year. I mean, look at this over here. After capitulation, you went sideways, not you, but Bitcoin went sideways for about a year before it actually was moving. So again, opportunity cost. Understand that there's an opportunity cost to being involved in an asset that is not moving when you could be in something that is moving. And even after capitulation, it's like there's no rush in my opinion. No rush. So yeah. Alrighty. What else do we have to talk about? Okay, we covered that. I went on some autistic rants. That's good. That's probably annoying, pissing off the shit out of people. Okay, so let's get on over to some altcoins right now before I forget. And let's go look at Mr. Ripples first. Mr. Ripples nipples not looking too good. In fact, this was again a big reason why yesterday I was, looking at this as likely to be faded. You see all the alts just kind of rolling over right over here. Again, Mr. Ripples, having news. We have some news, and what happens with bullish news in a bearish market, it gets sold into, man. It's used to provide liquidity for. It's used to provide liquidity for selling. And again, as long as Mr. Ripple is below 34.5 cents, really fucking bearish. And as it just slowly slinks below, again, having that divergence between the red 10 symbol and the yellow 21 symbol, it's just telling you that this is just an incredibly weak trend. Yeah, you still do have this 28 cent level down over here, but the second that you break that, not too much holding up from the mid to high teens. And this does not look good. I mean, this is what the chart really looks like. This is what it really, this is linear right over here. This is what it really looks like. Looks a lot like Mr. Butterol, which Mr. Buttersworth's not looking too damn healthy as well. So yeah, as long as you're below 34.5 cent, really fucking bad. But technically you have to break 28 cent, a little bit above 28 cent before this is confirmed broken. And then I'd be looking towards this area down around here. What are our oscillators saying right now? 3 days, 3 day Stokes, snaking a little bit, but still down. 3 day RSI, heavily in the bearish control zone. 3 day Joule. Do we have anything down around here? I mean, this is a bearish posturing of it, but not necessarily a signal. The signal was ages ago, over here when I told you to sell, because that's just what the Joule does. Okay, let's go over and check out Mr. Stellar Rumens. New lows, baby. New fucking lows. And this looks really familiar to what we're looking at on Mr. Bitcoin right now. 3 day little death cross right over here, below all major moving averages. Bad. I don't understand why the fuck people have been bullish on this thing the whole way through. This is a god-awful chart. God-awful. Ever since you got this right over here, bad. Ever since you got the fucking bull trap right over here, bad. Ever since you broke this support of this wedge-ish formation, which I absolutely hate wedges. I'm a wedge racist. Bad. Then you retested it. Bad. Then you got 3 day dildo death cross. Bad. Then you broke 377 exponential. Bad. And I mean, yeah, we are kind of on support. I mean, no, we're not necessarily on support right now. It's a little bit lower. The numbers are getting so low now that it doesn't even matter. But 7 cents, kind of a little bit of support. Then you got this area right over here, which is the measure move off this descending triangle, or M is for murder, like DMX, which actually took away my DMX right now. And shout out to Jeff Grau for posting that DMX meme. Awesome, man, fucking awesome. I really had a good laugh in the morning. So thank you for that, man. Awesome. 6 cent right over here, next support after that, and then if that breaks, then 4.5 cent. I mean, this thing is, this thing has not pumped and dumped like most other things, but it's acting like it wants to. It's definitely acting like it wants to now. Same thing with Monero over here, and this is why it helps to look at the broad market, because the broad market is weak. You know, they are either resting on prior lows or making new lows, and basically we do have Monero, I believe, not confirming below this low just yet on a 3-day. What about a daily? Yeah, daily is a bearish engulfing as it currently stands. That's not good. Looks like this consolidation is going to be confirmed broken to the downside. I mean, we're just retesting it is what it looks like to me. But yeah, most major alts not looking too healthy right now. Mrs. Litecoin over here. Mrs. Litecoin, you know, again, this is why I said until you actually break above $34.50, you haven't done anything different. You haven't done anything different. Just ranging price action, and as everything else starts to roll over, Mrs. Litecoin joins the party. Because what's Miss Litecoin? She just, you know, I'm gonna piss off the Litecoin gang. Sorry, I already pissed off the Ripple gang. Sorry, I don't mean to do that. This is in no way personal to anyone specific out there. It's just, you know, when we're talking about shitcoins, we're talking about shitcoins. I mean, is this one an actual shitcoin? I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. I can't read code. I'm not a programmer or anything like that. I don't claim to be. I've spent my life's energy learning technical analysis, not fundamental analysis. But what I can say is that as far as chart goes, this is not good. Not fucking good. But technically speaking, until you actually break $30 to the support down around here, you're not really in danger of getting to new lows or revisiting your prior lows. But when everything else is kind of, you know, showing weakness, I would imagine that this guy likely to join the party at some point. Oh, we forgot Mr. Buttersworth over here. Mr. Buttersworth, how you doing, my friend? Mr. Buttersworth, do you have continuation? Yes, you do. And so this is why I'm starting to believe that Bitcoin probably does see some as well. But we do have new lows on a weekly. As far as this pattern goes, we have continuation. Essentially, you got this big bad bearish dildo right over here. Consolidation, reject to the 10 simple. Consolidation, reject to the 10 simple. Continuation, and now it looks to me like we have about 60 to 70 cents of continuation right over here to new lows. Off of that down again, another rejection of the 10 simple. If I put on my drawing tools right over here, we are resting again on the 786, just like Bitcoin. But the second that the 786 breaks, and I'd be looking down around here to 94, 95 bucks. This is not necessarily too scientific with the way that I have this right now. I apologize about that. I need to be a little bit more OCD about my charts. But yeah, if that does break, I'd be looking down around here to like 96.5 bucks. This is Finex, by the way. Daily Stokes hinting at a fresh cross down. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. 4 hour. I mean, the 4 hour told the story the whole way through. You know, it told you the death cross right over here. Reject, reject, reject. And then just walking it down in a very beautiful Wyckoff distribution pattern we're seeing right here. You know, get your markup, Wyckoff distribution top, mark down, redistribute in a descending triangle, mark down, redistribute in a rising channel, and we are in the process of breaking this down. So as long as we are essentially below this area and closing 4 hour dildos below 105, we'll call it, as long as we're closing 4 hour dildos below 105, more immediate pressure to the downside. Again, same thing as Bitcoin though, not necessarily seeing like the volume characteristics that I want to see on like a major pattern breakdown. This is not a pattern breakdown of this whole consolidation, but in the small time frames right over here, it certainly is. So again, is that what am I trying to portray when I say something like that? I'm not necessarily looking for new lows just based off of what we saw right there. I am looking for new lows overall because it's fucking downtrend, man. It's fucking downtrend. But as far as in the more immediate time frames, it's just a breakage of the smaller formation right over there. So yeah, let's go back now over to Bitcoin. We'll start to wrap this bitch up. And actually, let's go look at traditional markets just really quick. Pretty easy to summarize them up right over here. Again, the big tell was a couple days ago on Monday. Once we took out the high of this doji dildo right over here, it's, you know, that was a signal. Don't be fucking short. In fact, you should probably be long. Again, it's not fund advice, but the only way that I really even want to consider being short now is if we break 269 on a daily dollar time frame. Until that happens, you know, yeah, I do think that this thing will kind of run into resistance, probably somewhere around the high 270s, like 278, 280ish area. But as you can see, it's got some room right over there. You know, basically ranging right over here, and you know, fresh daily dildo stoke to the upside. Fresh 21 exponential to the upside of the green 55. That's good as well. It definitely has enough juice to hit this area right over here if it wants to. Overall, I mean, it's hard to be bearish on something like this. It's hard to, you know, I think people want to be bearish on this, but it's not, as far as technical analysis goes, it's not the right time just yet. if it even is going to be. Yeah, the broad market is showing some weakness, but that doesn't. But SPY can go for a little bit longer before that one comes down as well. And I would not be surprised if it came up to around the 280 area. For now, not bad. And weekly is actually going to signal some good things as well pretty damn soon. All right, so let's go over to Bitcoin. We'll start to wrap this bitch up, and let's go back on over here. Now, again, everyone's talking about Bitcoin going back up above 4,400 or whatever it might be, which I think is very unlikely just based off the green 55 on the monthly. But also you see the weekly over here. The purple 200 exponential moving average is my sort of a guide. And for me, I don't believe that Bitcoin's going to be opening and closing. Again, keyword open and closing any weekly dildos above this guy anytime soon. In fact, I think that Bitcoin will find its ultimate lows before getting back above that and opening and closing a weekly dildo above that area. And if Bitcoin does open and close a weekly dildo above that area, I would actually drastically adjust a lot of the things that I'm saying and thinking. I would probably even take some longs off that, although technically speaking, from a more traditional standpoint, I want to see Bitcoin back above the 6,000 area right over here, and that would be indicative of the end of the bear market. But of course, you're going to likely have notification beforehand, but that would be the more traditional way of doing it. Anyways, until that happens, people are looking at this area right over here and saying, "Facto, we have facto, so we go up to 4,000." Terrible accent over there. Apologies about that. But this area right over here, very similar to this area right over here. I do agree with that. Look at the volume on this area right over here. Look at the volume on this area right over here. Relate these volumes on these major downs to your parabolic cycle right over here. Very similar in nature to this guy over here and in relation to this guy right over here. Not only that, but we do have the same sort of formation leading us into this area. We have this nice ascending triangle right over here, breaks down, gets its blood eagle on, about 51.5% down right over there. And we have the same thing right over here, right? We had a descending triangle right over here, a little bit longer, a little bit more intense, and that breaks down, another 51% drawdown right over there. Then we bounce up, and we have a very similar reaction right over here, about 25% up. And if we do the same thing right over here, we have another, 25, 26% up as well over the course of about 2.5 months. This is about 2.5 months of price action right over there. It's about 2.5 months of price action right over here. So people are looking at this and saying, okay, this is the same thing. We have a fractal over here, so that means 4,000. Get long. It's like, all right. This is what I don't like about fractals, because that is very misleading. That is incredibly misleading. And the reason why is because if we go over here and we look at an external type thing to kind of confirm what we're doing in this area, to me, this is similar in a lot of ways, but I believe that we are more mature along this pattern than not. And I'm going to look at the MBT signal, which is the network value divided by the daily transaction value, and then interpolate it using forward, backward, 90-day smooth moving average, simple moving average, essentially. And bringing this over right over here, this is the area that we're looking at. Sorry, on price action. It's this area right over here, right? And people are looking at this and they're saying, okay, so big down, okay, pump back up, then down again, and then you go make higher high. Test a 200 exponential, which is all the way like in 5,000. That's incredibly unlikely to fucking happen. Good luck, Tone Vase. Good luck, fucking crypto whatever name here. Insert crypto name here. I don't even know if he's saying that, man. I'm just picking up whatever. I don't really watch anyone else, so I don't really know. I don't really even know what people are saying right now, to be honest with you. But yeah, this area right over here, you see this. God, you motherfucker. All right, so this area right over here is the area in question, right? You come down, put in a low, pop up, come back down to your lows, and then put in a higher high, right? And then you get wrestled by the orange moving average and get thrown down. Let's just actually mark this area off, and let's look at this. Remember, this is an external thing, and when we fast forward to 2019, we are literally right around the same area. By the way, this is not the area that Bitcoin bottoms in. This is the area that Bitcoin bottoms in, below the 50 mark. We are at the 90 mark. And you'll notice that we have a very similar read. You drop all the way down, pump up, drop down to your lows once again, and then pump up, make a higher high right over here, drop back down to your lows, and then start wrestling with the moving average on this, which we actually ended above yesterday. But once we get back below that, it's once again pressure on as far as I'm concerned. So I do believe that it's more likely that Bitcoin actually shoots to new lows from here. That's my opinion. Technical analysis says, hey, hold your horses. Says hold your horses and hold your fucking tongue, you idiot. Sorry. Speaking to myself over there, I have a very bad internal monologue. But hold your horses until this area breaks right over here. That's that's what technical analysis says. My opinion says we're actually likely to break on to new lows from here. Looking at the alts, which are already rolling over, most of them making new lows right now, or in the process of making new lows. Looking at the monthlies, which the monthly dildos look incredibly ugly right now. Looking at the weekly, which essentially just another rejection of the 10 simple. Looking at the daily, which is quite literally a rejection of the 10 simple right over here and down, I would be saying that it's probably more likely. It's probably more likely, in my opinion. But again, as far as price action goes, gotta wait until that last line of support breaks down around here, which to me is the most important thing. Until that happens, gotta be a little bit more defensive. Like I said, I'll be holding this position for a little bit, as long as we're below 33.80 and closing 4-hour dildos below there. Don't really have any reason to let go of this. In fact, we're like literally right there right now. So I'm gonna have to wait another 4 hours most likely. But yeah, I mean, even as long as we're below 3,400, it's probably fine. But here's the thing, if Bitcoin does rally off from this area, well, then we just redraw this and it becomes a broadening wedge, right? Another bearish distribution pattern, but I also don't want to live through another rally back up into this range, or potentially even higher. So again, to wrap up, my thoughts here. As long as Bitcoin's below this area right over here, 35.30, looking for price action to go lower, I am more intensely bearish. The second that Bitcoin gets back above 35.30, I would maybe even consider taking a long, because I think that you'd probably have a run up at least till 36.50-ish area, and probably even take a stab at the overall resistance of this area. I would not want to be short if price action gets back above 34.69 right over here, and we are resting on support, or we have touched down on support at 33.50-ish area. If Bitcoin actually does break that, also the 786 Fibonacci retracement, then I would be looking for the mesh move off this bear flag in this symmetrical triangle, and also the fib at 886 down around here, your prior lows, and also these horizontals to be hit at around 32.50-ish area, which is also the stop loss of CNBC right now, I believe. Again, putting it into confluence with the underlying market dynamics, I do think that this thing probably heads lower from here. But again, if we do close above 33.80-ish area, then the game begins once again, and I do believe that we'd probably have another run back up to test at least a low 3400s. By the way, I forgot to talk about this. Counterpoint to all this is that Bitfinex over here actually has made new lows in this pattern. The weekly has not seen continuation just yet, but the daily has. Yeah, the weekly has, or has the weekly? No, the weekly has not. Sorry, but the daily has seen new lows from this little consolidation right over here. So again, looking at the different exchanges does give you perspective on that. But I think that kind of wraps up what I want to talk about during this video. We just set in the last 4-hour dildo. Let's go check out the 4-hour Stokes. They are confirmed down. What about the 8-hour? That's the highest time frame that just ended the soonest. They gave you a little bit of a snake and opened down as well. And let's get off the MBT signal right over there. But yeah, overall, all time frames bearish once again. 8 hours actually a bearish engulfing dildo, by the way, which is just more and more likely to be followed through. So maybe if I wanted to play this the proper way, I'd be having a stop loss at the high of this dildo right over here, and just hold on to my position and just wait it out. But again, I am happy with keeping this guy open as long as we're below there. This guy over here, I might want to close off. So again, that's going to do it for this morning's video. I'll be back on later. Really excited to have Crypto West on. Also, oh my God, Crypto Zombie, who I had an interview with last week, posted a phenomenal video on the situation that's going down with Quadriga. If you're not familiar with the Quadriga situation, I will do a terrible job butchering what happened. Go head on to Crypto Zombies channel and look at the video titled could this be the next could this be the Black Swan event for Bitcoin, or something like that. It has Black Swan in the title. He does a great synopsis of the situation, very much in depth, and it was very enlightening. So essentially, if you're not familiar with it, Quadriga, the owner died. We might think that, sorry, it's not we, but there is skepticism whether he actually died or not, faked his death. A lot of weird things going on, him writing his will about a month before he actually dies, him moving to a new country that offers up fake funerals, has a big fake funeral industry, about a month before he died. doing all sorts of weird things, man, writing wills for his dogs to give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is very bizarre. Again, I'm not a forensic analyst or anything like that. I'm not a forensic crime solver, if that's a word. But what I can say is that it sounds a little bit fishy to me. But definitely check out his video. He does like a whole 20-minute segment on it and relates Quadriga to actually in the end Bitfinex to give away. But the way that it gets there is so intricate and really worthwhile listening to. So shout out to K-Dub over there for putting together a phenomenal video, and I really do suggest checking it out. So again, that's Bitcoin for today. I'll be back on later. Looking forward to have West on. Looking forward to see you later. If not, well, I wish you well on this beautiful Wednesday anyways, and take care.